Welcome to the Massive Quick Start Tour. This tutorial offers some easy-to-follow first steps that will help get you started with Massive. This new software instrument combines a unique synthesis engine with unparalleled ease of use, and does so with a focus on expressive sound design and creation. With its cutting-edge concept and groundbreaking wave-scanning oscillators, Massive generates sounds of both a digital and an analog nature. After installing Massive and starting the application for the first time in standalone mode, a dialog box appears prompting you to adjust the audio and MIDI settings. First, choose your interface type. Then, select the desired sample rate and output device. Finally, click on Routing to choose your desired outputs. When you click on the MIDI tab, you'll see a list of MIDI ins and outs. You can toggle between on and off by clicking on the interface. Finally, click on OK to apply your changes. Native Instrument software is constantly being improved. For optimal performance, make sure that you always use the latest version. You can easily check for free updates with the Service Center that installs simultaneously with the software or directly on the Native Instruments website. Each time you start Massive, the Synth screen loads by default. You can also access this page by pressing the F3 shortcut on your computer keyboard or by clicking on SYNTH in the navigation bar. This is the heart of Massive, giving you quick access to all the controls, modulators, filters, and effects. All these elements will be explained in more detail later on. Let's load a sound. The navigation bar at the top of the screen displays relevant information, and the MIDI channel shows which MIDI channel Massive is currently receiving messages on. In the File menu, you will find the usual set of commands that you are accustomed to from other applications, for example, Open, Save, and Options. The selector allows you to quickly load a sound without switching over to the browser view. Just click on it and select your sound, or use the Load Next or Previous buttons and play a note. Over 400 presets, which we call sounds, are now at your fingertips. Here are some examples. Let's take a look at the browser. Switch to the browser view by clicking the browser button or press F2 on your computer keyboard. This is the classic file tree view, allowing you to access your hard disk folders on the left and all Massive sounds on the right. Now click on Sounds to switch to the database view. You can also press F5 on your computer keyboard. All Massive sounds have been pre-configured for use with Core and categorized as Core sounds. On this page, you will see 5 category columns. These contain the attributes used to tag, classify, and search all sounds. Let's look for a synthetic bass sound. To do this, we combine several attributes by clicking on them in the attributes list. Click on Bass under Instrument. Choose Analog and Synthetic under Source. In the Timbre category, click on Warm and Fat. Under Articulation, we want a sustained, monophonic, and expressive bass sound. Finally, click on Techno in the Musical Genre category. As you combine attributes, your search becomes more and more focused, and consequently, the number of search results displayed on the right side decreases, but also becomes more and more precise. The massive KORESOUND addition looks promising, so we'll double-click it. You can now play the sound with your MIDI keyboard. Now try modifying the output with one of the macro control knobs. They are arranged in a row and numbered 1 through 8, just above the browser. Here you will also find the master output level controls. While holding down a MIDI key and sustaining a sound, click on the third macro control and drag the mouse upwards. The macro control knob will follow the movement and you will hear the sound changing. In this case, the filter's cutoff frequency is being affected. Try playing around with the other macro controls to change the sound even more. All macro controls can easily be controlled with external MIDI knobs or faders. Right-click one of the macro controls and select MIDI Learn from the context menu. Then just move a knob or fader on your external controller. The assignment is made. Although you can do this with all of Massive's parameters, the macro controls will probably be your favorite target. You can save all MIDI assignments you make in the MIDI section of the Options dialog. For example, if you have a MIDI keyboard with 8 knobs, you can assign them via MIDI Learn to the 8 macro controls and then save that setup for future use. This means that you can create different MIDI assignment setups for various studio and live situations. The most important parameters for all factory sounds can be controlled directly in this manner. Just load a sound and start tweaking immediately. All the macro controls have already been pre-configured for Core. So if used within Core, you can control them using the Core hardware controller. Now that we have made changes to a sound, we want to save the sound with a new name and with some additional attributes. Switch to the Attributes window. Now you can add or remove attributes so that the description better fits the new sound we have made. You can also rate each sound individually and color code them. Now save your new sound by choosing Save, located in the top header. How do the macro controls affect the sound? Let's change to the Synth view to get a better idea of how this works. Click the Synth button in the navigation bar to switch to the Synth view or press F3. You will see the same 8 macro control knobs, labeled 1 through 8, in the lower right corner of the window. In the Synth view, you can see how each control modifies the sound, and you can also create your own control assignments. But first of all, let's take a look at the different sections of the Synth view window. Sound generation in Massive begins in the oscillator section, which is located on the left-hand side of the interface. Like all modules on the Synth page, each oscillator has an on-off switch. The oscillators also have 3 knobs and 2 pop-up menus that control the way they work. You can select the specific wavetable for each individual oscillator with the pop-up menu. In each oscillator module, you can choose between basic, analog electric, digital hybrid, and effects chords wavetables. You can also go through the wavetable sequentially with the previous and next buttons.